So let's go back up here and turn on our canvases. Hopefully they don't take forever to load. It's been a while since I loaded them. There we go. And canopies are not as tricky as you might think. And I'm going to go ahead and use the outlines that they have here. So let's go up here and let's create a sketch on top of this. And I'm going to create a new component. Oh, I see. We moved our thing because of drawing that thing. Well, that's fine. We can move this canvas. Let's edit it and let's turn it 90 degrees. Come on, no pinwheels. I'm also uploading my other video that I just finished to YouTube, so might be slowing us down a little bit. Okay, now let's move it this way. And you can make it as perfect as you want it. There we go. That looks like about the right spot. I might go forward just a touch. Just a touch. Oh, we need to go back. And come down a hair. Okay, that looks good. That'll work. Alright, so now let's go up here and create a new component. And we're going to call this canopy. Okay, and here we go. I want to create a sketch on top of this fuselage right here, which is where the canopy is going to go. And first thing I want to do is create a center line from my origin. Okay, let's make that a just a construction line. Now let's come back over here. We're going to get our spline. I want to start right here and just kind of go around getting some rough ideas about what we want. There we go. And we want to adjust these. So we get the nice, wonderful shape that we want. Yeah, when you don't have as many control handles, you can see that it's going to be interesting. There we go. Okay. Let's bring this up here. And we can adjust that. We may not have it exact, but we're going to have it close. So one of the things that you have to have in order to get a good canopy, these, where you come to the center of your line, those need to be horizontal or perpendicular. So that way when it hits the other side, it's going to be tangent to each other. If you don't, you're going to get a weird sharp line in there. So we'll hit that like that, and let's see what else we can do to get it a little closer. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then I want to make, I'm gonna add another line out this way as another guideline, and hit that with an X. And we want to make sure that these two lines are collinear, and they are, and that's good. Because we want to make this point coincident on that line. So now it's turned black. That's what we want. This one's black, it's coincident. Now let's go ahead and add some dimensions here. Alright, so now we have all black lines. We can come in here and mirror this line. And we're going to mirror it on our little line right there. And there we go. We have a closed shape, which is what we want. And these are tangent with each other, and you can test that if you click on each one. There we go. Let's double check and make sure they're tangent. This one is going to change a little bit, but that should work. Okay, so there's our top profile. Now we need to create the side profile. Let's go here, turn on this sketch. So yeah, we didn't have it lined up perfectly, but for this case it's going to be fine. So we're going to create another sketch on this plane, and we want to project. These things have to intersect. Pinwheels of fun. So we want to project this point to this point, because these two shapes have got to be joined together for this to work. I add a couple more points here. You always want to use the least amount of points that you can, just to keep it cleaner, and it helps. So now these don't need to be as these don't necessarily have to be horizontal. When we're going into this shape, we're okay here, and that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and dimension all this. Let's put an angle here, and angle here, angle here. So I guess when it comes to these guidelines being horizontal or vertical, that becomes critical on parts that are going to be symmetrical. Since this side is not symmetrical, it's not as critical. There we go. Okay. So there we have our shape here as well. All right. So let's turn the fuselage off for now. And we can turn our canvases off. So now we have these two profiles. And if you come in here and you loft this now, right here, we're going to grab this shape and this shape. It's not going to work. And I just realized why this one isn't going to work. Let's come back to that first sketch that we did on the canopy. And we need to, let's edit that sketch. We need to bifurcate this shape. So, come on, no pinwheels. So let's put a line right down the middle here. Alright, so now we have two shapes. That's what we want. This one and this one. Alright, so let's finish that sketch. Okay, now if we come in here and create this loft, we have this shape and this shape, and you're going to get, and then you can add this shape for profile 3, but you can see it's not, or profile 2, we have to, it doesn't, we have to have a guideline here in order to help shape this. So now we need to put a guideline in here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an offset plane in here, and you could put a couple of these depending on the canopy and how much you want to control the shape. And actually, let's go a little bit right there, and let's go ahead and put another one in here. And this is one of those things that took me a while to really figure out how to do and get it to work. So we want to create planes or sketches on these planes we just created. So let's go up here to intersect, and I want to intersect this and this. And it's important because that creates these points. These points have to touch our profiles, our shapes. So let's come in here, and we're just going to give this whatever look we want. And again, where this arc meets to go to the other side, this line has to be horizontal, so it will be tangent with the other side. So that has to be that way. So now we can kind of shape this a little bit. Come out, and this is all up to you what you want this to look like. And like you could 3D print the buck, like if you're making these canopies, if you're going to vacuum form them, you could 3D print the buck, sand it down, smooth it out, and use that as your buck. Or you can just create this pattern to carve out of wood, and by cutting a bunch of pieces, you could actually laser cut it or CNC the whole thing in all these separate shapes, sand it down, and use that as your buck too. Alright, so now let's do another shape here. I'm going to hit slice so I don't see the other one. And where are we? Let's hit intersect. Intersect there, intersect there, and come in here and create another profile like that. Check mark again. This has to be equals. Let's look at the front and see how it lines up with our other profile. Yeah, I can kind of start tapering in right there, but that looks pretty good. Okay, so, and we probably need to go mirror those. Let me go, and of course mirror and define them. Let's mirror this, and let's use our origin plane as what we want to do it with. Let me go ahead and dimension this. There we go, finish sketch. And let's edit this other one to create the other side. And this is one of those things that it might work on here for me, but your example, you're probably gonna have to do some experimenting. I've gotten better where it almost works every time the first time, but not always. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Alright, so now I'm going to come in here, and now let's create our loft. And we want the loft, we're going to create this profile to this profile, and we want to add a rail. I'm going to add this rail and that rail. So now you can see we got a pretty nice looking canopy. And we can hit OK. So we can mirror this, or let's go back and edit this, edit feature. I don't think we can hit the other side, because then it creates this as one profile. So we can't do it that way. It won't work. So what we can do, we can come turn these sketches back on and come back and create another loft wherever it is. There we go. Go from here to here, and add rails, this rail and that rail. And now we should have a symmetrical object. Turn the sketches off. Do we have two bodies? Nope, it's just one body. But we still ended up with a line here, and I think it's because of this bubble right here. Yeah, it has to do with this shape right here. So that didn't quite work like I wanted it. So let's turn that body off. Let's go to surface. And we're going to create a loft in the surface environment. And sometimes that will give you a different shape. I don't know why it does, but it does. Let's add rails. We still have this weird bubble right there. And we might be able to get rid of that if we spread that out. I don't know. Let's just create that surface and come back, and actually it looks like it might work. Let's create another loft on the other side. Gonna go here, here. Add our rails. Hit OK. Nope, it still has that weird little bubble right there. So that's something that's just going to take some tweaking to mess around with, but it should. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Probably this needs to come out a little more. Let's turn that sketch back on, and I'm going to edit that sketch. And this is the beauty of Fusion. Even though we've created a body, we can come in here and edit this. Probably going to have to get rid of a couple of dimensions here. I have to get rid of all the dimensions because these angles are all going to change. Okay, so let's just bring this point out a little more. Let's see what happens. It's not defined yet, but that looks a little better. Still not quite. Turn the sketches off. Yeah, it's a little closer. A little closer. And we should have all this defined, but for brevity, I'm just going to skip that step. So now we want to thicken this. And let's go. I'll thicken both of these. We want to go to one side and negative 0.063. Let's see what that does. It doesn't like that. Okay. Let's go back to this body, which this body should be a different shape now. Yeah, this one's a little better. And let's just see if I can shell this one. And see what happens. Ooh, cancel. I hit hole, not shell. So now I want to go 0.063. See if that works. No, it doesn't like that either. Let's try 0.03. Of course, if you're 3D printing this, you don't need that to worry about the thickness. It'd be nice if they had a machine that would 3D print the canopy for you in the thickness you want. Yeah, it's not going to like that. Okay, so anyway, that's how we get a basic shape of the canopy. That gives everybody a pretty good idea. You'll have to do some tweaking to get it to where you want it. Now I'm going to, just for fun, I'm going to make this thing clear. And we want the whole thing clear. There we go. So yeah, this line is probably what's given us all this grief, because we didn't quite get it smooth enough. And again, that's tweaking on your end, but for 3D printing purposes, that's really all you need. All right, so I think that's going to conclude what I wanted to do in this video. Now, yeah, that's all I want to do here. And I got to go turn on all those components on the left wing air bodies. But anyway, that's basically it. So the only thing I want to do left with this model is show how to create laser patterns or CNC patterns and flatten this out. And that's going to be in the next video. I hope everybody has a great day.